Welcome back to Fourth and Fantasy, everybody. Tonight, we are bringing the heat with Volume 2 of our Ice Up series with our good friend Ben McCown of Dynasty Gambit and Devy Dojo. Last time we broke down the pass catcher, but tonight, we are heading into the backfield from Jonathon Brooks in Carolina to Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Ben is here to separate the medical facts from fantasy fiction. Let's get into it, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't follow no script. I make my own lane. Got a spreadsheet mind and a red rash brain. Dynasty beats got that tape in my veins. While they drafting by names, I'm exposing their game. No cap. We study the craft like film room rats. Gyms in the fourth while they stuck in the past. It's levels to the dynasty. Keep or flex. From rookies to pros, we demand and respect. That's real. And I ain't never need clout for my clout to show. Just a mic I take and a team I grow. This ain't just picks, it's Principle G. It's fourth and fantasy where you build your legacy. We 10 toes.
Can't hear shit. What happened?
I told my goodness I was double muted. And we, like I was saying, as y'all already know, we're 10 toes down and we stand on facts.
You got 10 toes in it.
10 toes in it. But you already knew that. I'm Hondo, and to my far right is my guy.
Siriaco, call me Rocco. No toe jobs around here.
No toe jobs, man. And we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins. And Rocco, the land of the what?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Gotta get my mic fixed.
And everybody is god dang welcome. And as I said, we're back with our Ice Up series with our good friend, the doctor, Ben McCown in the house. How we feeling, my guy?
Doing good, guys. This is the point in the season where I am just looking forward to hopefully getting on some startups. And driving, man, I can't do it. I can't do more. I'm just going to have some cutting, man.
I'm telling you.
How many leagues are you in right now?
45. 45.
My
And they keep and it feels like that list because another one just switched over to 2026 the other day. I'm like, at this point, any league that is renewing at this point of the year, I'm leaving because you should have. In my head, I'm not in the league anymore. This should have been renewed. We're 3 months in. I'm out of here. So
Man, if I'm in 45 leagues, my wife would divorce me, right, babe?
That's right.
Yep. 45 leagues, she's gonna fucking dump me right. She's gonna dump me right on this podcast right here.
I can't, man. It's a tough one out
All right,
there.
you trying to record, bro?
It's hard out here, man. But I'm not thinking about. I probably got one more, or two more startups in me that will start. Anybody who's like, you trying to join my orphan? I need someone to take off. Yeah, you're just gonna have to take one of those because I'm not joining any more, especially no more free leagues. Don't talk.
No.
Don't even bring no idea of a free league to me. I'm not trying to
No,
hear
no. But guys,
it.
I'm excited to talk about our startup tomorrow. Right? We had a really fun startup with all the dudes,
Oh yes.
and it's gonna get real in tomorrow's
Yeah,
live.
stay tuned. We're gonna have
We'll talk shit about all y'all's
maybe
team.
less.
We're gonna talk shit about every single one of y'all's team and where you fucked up.
hey, well, I felt
Oh,
like
okay.
before we get on to like the main topic of tonight, I felt like I had a really good draft actually in our startup. It's gonna be fun though. I always enjoy drafts that include rookies in there because it pushes good productive guys down the line, and I feel like a couple of guys actually got pretty good value in some certain spots. But can't wait to actually break that down with y'all and get that out to the masses when we do. But as we stated, we are breaking down the quarterbacks and running backs. And what's better to start off with the hot topic in these streets? Some people are still on the hill, some people are jumping off. We call him homie over here. Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City quarterback, tore his ACL. Ben, how are we feeling about him in 2026 as as owners out there, how should they be navigating? At this point, he plays the quarterback position, so I feel like ACL injuries are less impactful. But for him, where he was at that part of the season, basically putting Kansas City all the way on his shoulders and back, having to extend plays just because of the offense got pretty stale. Is Patrick Mahomes somebody you can still trust in 2026?
You know, I think this question has been a strong one all offseason so far. I think in terms of what we know Patrick Mahomes is, he is a warrior. He is a fighter. He is somebody that is going to try everything to be back on the field as soon as he possibly can. And I will tell you from reports, the timeline is good because all that was really injured was just his ACL, right? A lot of times we're talking about a longer timeline. It's because of a multi-ligament injury. And I actually have research that I can share with anybody who needs it after the show at any time. But just clean ACL out there. It was injured on December 14th, and he had injury. He had a surgery shortly after that to repair and reconstruct the ACL. And so where the timeline is slated right now is that he should be back before week 1 and that he could be playing in 9 months, right? Sometimes it's not always as easy, right? Sometimes it does take a little bit longer. And so I think there is a thought process for a lot of people that he might miss at least the first 4 weeks on the pup, in which case you should have a backup. You should have a plan in place that you have another QB or a position in a super flex spot to be able to take up Patrick Mahomes for the first couple of weeks while he sits on your IR. And that's a possibility. But I get a strong feeling that Patrick Mahomes is possibly back week 1 or week 2. And the thing for Patrick Mahomes is we know a couple things, right? He does play the quarterback position, like you said, Huncho, which, of course, he could possibly revert to being a pocket passer at the beginning of 2026. He also is, again, just somebody who we saw him back in the playoff game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 5 years ago, injure his ankle, and then ultimately continue to play on it and just
it was running.
fight for every yard, right? And, you know, this is a situation where by the time he gets to play in September and October, it's unlikely he's going to injure that ACL again. It would be more likely that he would injure the opposite side because of how much he's rehabbed that knee. I don't have any concerns about Patrick Mahomes returning. I think he's going to be just fine in 2026.
And follow-up question for you on that one. Would you agree that with modern day, techniques, that the ACL injury isn't as bad or isn't as, as a, bad news as we would have been maybe 15 years back, 10 years back of a player tearing their ACL? There's different, practices have come so far from then to where an ACL, you can work with that. It's not like it's an Achilles injury. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. And actually, we can definitely have more of a conversation about the Achilles side of things like later on in the episode because that's definitely going to be a talking point with a couple of the players we're going to talk about. But as far as ACL reconstruction goes, they have gotten extremely advanced. Actually, working with a patient right now, and you have to look at it this way, right? I work in outpatient orthopedics with the general public. By the time it gets to me, it's already been done in professional sports and college sports for years ahead of that. So there's actually a procedure now where I'm treating a patient that has what's called a Bear implant. And so it's basically using a device to help reconstruct and using their platelets and a lot of their tissue to help grow the ACL back over. It's really wild stuff to the point that they really don't have to harvest as much of your tissue to worry about things like patellar tendonitis and when they take out some quad tissue or a hamstring getting cut into because they're taking some of that tendon and putting it where the ACL used to be. They are getting extremely advanced to the point that I think you're seeing these timelines move up further and further. Yeah, I'll leave that alone because I think I can get into a longer talk about the Achilles, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
Hell yeah. I love to
Are you
hear
worried at all about Mahomes so much of his fantasy production and what made him, a high end QB1 last year was his rushing production. Do you have
Mhm.
any concerns about that ACL? I know you mentioned that, maybe he's more of a pocket passer, but as a pocket passer, he needs some weapons, which he's, doesn't really have a whole bunch,
Yeah.
in house right now before free agency and the draft. Do you worry at all if he's forced to carry the team, in a rushing manner like he did in 2025?
So because to me, I think he would revert to being a pocket passer, right? I think to me, naturally, Patrick Mahomes is actually more of a scrambler, and he definitely is not a Lamar Jackson. He's not a Josh Allen, but he moves around the pocket a lot more, like older version of Caleb Williams, right? Basically, he's fighting for yards. He's the guy who is possibly going to put it on his legs to get 10 more yards if it's not there. The thing that the Chiefs might be able to do to offset this with his injury and be able to, and I know you disagree with this, Rocco. I know you do. But taking Jeremiah
I'm
Love at nine.
listening. My take is well out there. If y'all want to hear what I think about Patrick Mahomes in 2025, just check out one of our shorts or our player hating episode. It is all out there. I laid out my case, but I want to hear your side of things. We've
Yeah,
been flirting in
absolutely.
the Discord about this, but I want to hear it now. Give it to me.
All right. So, and here's the thing. I know that there was another individual in that episode, Chev, who is on the same side of things as me because the initial argument started months ago where Rocco said that he called me out on his podcast and said that Patrick Mahomes is not a second round startup pick. Um, but to me, guys, just like Shep said, and I'm not here to just echo his words, but Patrick Mahomes is a QB1 in any facet as far as being up to one all the way down to 12, right? And he's going to give you a floor of low end QB1 numbers. But at any time, he was the QB1 leading through the first 5-6 weeks of last year. So
I can't
those are the
disagree.
things that that's the potential that Patrick Mahomes gives you. The question is, how much does his injury affect him? I do think it's going to his rushing floor. Absolutely. But it depends on what Kansas City does in the draft and what they do in free agency to put the weapons around him. Because I do think if they draft Jeremiah Love, it's wheels up, guys. I really do. I think that's going to be what balances the Kansas City offense. The question is, will the offensive line be strong enough to be able to allow a rushing game from Jeremiah Love, somebody like Jeremiah Love, and also, provide a good floor for Patrick Mahomes passing. I also am interested in what other possible running back go to Kansas City,
I'm right
right? I mean,
there.
that's a whole
Yeah.
other discussion, but you consider possible. They could still trade Paul. They could go after Kenneth Walker. Like these are some of the guys that could be in the Kansas City backfield next year.
The name I keep hearing around Kansas City, if it's not Jeremiah Love, is Travis Etienne. And I'm hearing that the love is also goes back and forth. Travis Etienne also likes or could see himself playing in Kansas City as well. So I think they very much want to lean in on the running game, right? I think they want to take that stress off of Pat Mahomes so he doesn't feel like he has to do so much in that offense. But I also feel like Travis Kelsey, and I don't want to get too much of a tangent, they just need more is old. They have an older offense. Your wide receivers that you're having or you have out there currently right now, Mike Rasheed Rice is one incident away from being out the league. You got Kelsey, who is older than the dirt from the dinosaur era, and then you are trying to work on a running game. Now they brought back Eric Bieniemy. I think he's going to bring back improvement into the running game,
Eric
but
who?
Bieniemy, I said it
Um,
right. I was like,
I
okay, I
was,
just don't be fucking with me,
oh,
bro. Don't
fuck,
mess.
fuck. He said better me.
Yeah. So
He's a friend of me.
he's a friend of me. So I agree with you. Get Patrick Mahomes a running game, help him out, And shoot, we could. There's also been a talk with them taking Carnell Tate. So let's say they go out and get a Travis Etienne, and then they go out draft a Carnell Tate. That helps out your offense pretty immensely. Or what if they fuck around and draft a tight end, get Sadiq, or go out there and go? Well, actually, no, they just get picked up another first round pick off of trading McDuffie to the Rams. You just never know. But
I would hope they pick up some veterans, some established veterans, because them developing talent hasn't gone very well in the last few years of their first and second round picks. I know Rice is the exception, but he's also he's doing things that jeopardize him being a free man. So that's a different kind of miss so far if he doesn't get his shit together. I like the idea of ETN because we've seen ETN be good. We've seen him be a workhorse. The team hasn't been it hasn't had a tremendous run game, in a while ever since Pacheco got hurt. Another guy that Ben could have told us about, but he's not relevant, so we don't have to talk about him tonight.
I would say before we move on to the running backs, Ben, finish this sentence, right?
Yeah.
The Patrick Mahomes is this equivalent. What's the equivalent of Patrick Mahomes in the rookie drafts? Like what's the highest rookie draft pick you're spending on Patrick Mahomes right now?
Ooh. Well, hang on a second. I would easily, like, value wise, he's worth more than Mendoza, and he is not worth the 101, right? So it's right between there for me. I think he's not worth the 101, but he's worth more than the 102. It's right in between there because you value what we had in the startup draft with Jeremiah Love at the early second, mid second probably for Jeremiah Love. And then you put Mekhi Lemon and Carnell Tate somewhere in the third and fourth round. It's probably somewhere between the 101 and 102.
I like it. Now, let's talk about. Well, I can't say I like both of these running backs. I can only say I like one. The other one, I just, I allow. He's cool. But who am I talking about? I'm talking about Judkins, and I'm also talking about Cam Scatterbo. Both, I won't say they had similar injuries. Both were just, what I would say, to more of the bone area rather than, and Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, Judkins were people were fearing that it could be ligament, but his was more positive outcome, where it was just mainly the bone. I think it dislocated, was it what Judkins, and then Scatterbo was complete Armageddon on television. I almost cut the TV on when I saw it,
You cut the
but
titties.
cut the titties. But would you? How do you feel better about Judkins in 2026 injury, or do you feel better about Scatterbo's injury?
I think you're muted. Did you?
There we go.
Yep. Nope. I'm good. I got it. So I was just looking this up because I had to look up the timeline of when these guys got hurt. Right. For Judkins, he got hurt week 16, and then Scatterbo ended up getting injured October 26th. So it was a game against the Eagles, but it much greater timeline, at least in being able to get Scatty to heal. Thing is, Judkins had it easier for sure, right? He didn't. So for Scatterbo, he ended up tearing his deltoid ligament, which is the large ligament on the inside of your ankle, which is very important structurally. But he probably had a tightrope procedure, very similar to what Saquon ended up having with his high ankle sprain, where they basically just fixate those ligaments up and get them fixed up in the ankle. And then also had time to heal the fracture. So for Scatterbo, the timeline was essentially 4 to 6 months. So he's going to be he's going to be practicing at OTAs, either in training camp. Same for Judkins. But the thing is, I worry a little bit about Scadabo's injury from the standpoint that he had a little bit more ligamentous damage. He's going to be playing week one, but at the same time, there's going to be a potential that he could flare it up some point in the season. So I I definitely take Scadabo with a little bit of caution, but I do think he is the de facto starting running back for the Giants in 2026, unless the Giants decide to do something different at the draft or sign a free agent.
Yeah, I'll let you go, Rocco, before I my follow up.
Man, all of this smoke about them getting another running back makes me angry. I want to fight somebody when I hear this type of stuff.
Shia
It
LaBeouf.
also makes me curious about how his injury recovery is going. Um, just because as a running back last year, I don't see any reason why you would need to bring in anybody else. You know, my dream scenario for them is to bring in like a Tony Pollard, and they just kind of let Tyrone Tracy go. Um, Tracy had some moments, but he kind of lacks efficiency, and just doesn't seem like that team likes him because they're always looking to replace him. So it makes me worry a little bit about Tracy and Scadaboo, with all of the smoke about them wanting to go running back. And I know some of that could be that they want somebody to trade up into their spot to get Jeremiah Love. They're trying to create, that market for somebody to overpay to get up to their pick.
Hmm.
But it pisses me off, like straight up. Like if Scadaboo is 100%
Yeah.
week one, I don't see a need to bring in another guy. I mean, he carried the rock. He made that team. Him and Dart made that team look, competitive every week they were out there. They beat the Eagles. Um, so, and I think they only won like three fucking games all year. So one of them was against the Eagles with Scadaboo and Dart healthy. So hopefully they don't do that. And because you can't believe everything you hear right now. There is a lot of bullshit out there. So I'm just trying not to, make it ruin my day until the news drops. But
Sound like I'm
yeah,
coping.
I
huh?
just came up with an epiphany while you were talking, though, Rocco.
What's that?
So the Giants are picking at 5.
Yes.
Commanders are picking at 7.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
Saints picking at 8, and then the Chiefs at 9. And I think for the Giants to give just a big FU move to Washington, they will absolutely trade down that pick and let
Hmm.
somebody else take Jeremiah Love. Now, the Giants could totally stick and pick, but I do think that would be a big fuck you move to the Washington Commanders.
And I advocate for that. I like all that kind of play right there. And with Judkins, I feel like he has more resale value than Scatterboo right now. With where you haven't heard any reports about the Browns wanting to come in and help uh, bring in another running back because they already have him. They have Dylan Sampson, and I think they feel pretty good about that running back room right now. Scatterboo is maybe the new regime, and I don't want to throw it out there like because once again, I haven't heard any negative things about him, but I know Cam is a pretty party guy, so maybe they might feel like they need to either because they did release Devin Singletary, so he's out his way. So right now it's just looking like Tyrone Tracy and then we Scatterbo, and if they bring in another guy, we'll see. But I was never really on the Cam Scatterbo train, so I'm happy I don't have to deal with none of this shit. I know. I
You
know.
missed out, didn't you?
No, I'm good. If they draft a running back, I ain't miss out on nada. I'm good off of that one. But I'll still buy some Juckins right now. I still buy some Juckins right now. I love me so if someone would be okay, I'll I'll trade the 107 right now for a Juckins. 107 right now. 108,
Yeah,
107.
yeah.
Let me
I
let
feel,
let me
I don't
let
know
you
if
on a
it's
little
happening.
secret.
what'd
What's
you say?
that?
I just said I don't know if it's happening. I don't know if somebody's
Like,
taking that for Judkins.
man, it's hard. Yeah, if people at this
Let me
point.
let you on a little secret. Let me
Hmm,
let you on a little secret. Scatterboo is better than Junkins.
I don't know about that one. That's only one of them boys might get replaced, but I mean that's a. I like to take though. I like the spice, Rocco. It's a
He's
Thursday.
better
We
at
bring the spice.
football.
I'm not
Junkins
mad.
is better at being an athlete.
I'm not
Scatterboo is
mad
better
at
at
it, bro.
football.
Like I
And that's
can't.
why he puts up big numbers doing football things.
We just got to see how them boys play out. I think with the injuries, well, Satterbo wasn't even a athlete really to begin with, so that's the part that scares me a little, just a tad. But Ben, answer this
Yeah,
part. You don't think that the injury would basically? He doesn't have any probability of losing any athleticism basically from his injury. He should be okay going forward.
I that's I guess I didn't touch on that as much, right? But I do think that that's where the ligament issue does kind of scare me a little bit. Which actually, a guy that we're not talking about tonight, but I did talk about one of my recent articles, Nick Singleton, is the guy that I am worried about with injury that he suffered with a Jones fracture. But opposite part of the ankle for Cam Scatabo, I
Mhm.
think there is some concern, but I think Cam is just like we talked about with Patrick Mahomes. He's a warrior. He's going to fight through it, and I do think that he's going to open up his 2026 season strong because I think he's going to go through a fucking wall. He's just going to do
Yeah.
what Cam Scatabo does. Um, it will be a question of if he's able to, possibly be as explosive as he was in 2025. But I think for Judkins, it's not as much of a concern just because it was only bone involved, no ligament.
Are both buys in 2026, Rocco?
What's
Are
that?
you are both buys? Are you buying Scatterbo in 2026 still? Are you buying Junkins?
I will I will if the price is right.
Okay.
I'm not buying into Judkins because
What
Browns.
rookie pick for you
Um,
for Scadabo?
Scatterbo, I think any
Just
late
in the
first,
106?
I would no, no. I think it has more artificial value. I'm gonna play market on that. Honestly, like after hearing what you said about some diminished athleticism and possible issues popping up in season, I feel like the bottom would be if he doesn't come out and kick ass like he did in 2025. I think then I can get him for a second, and I don't have to absorb all of that, subpar play on a diminished athleticism play for 2026,
Buying
and
a
then
dip.
I'll keep on buying. I keep on buying that dip because unless I'm in a deep rebuild, I'm trying to win money in 2026, so I can't pussyfoot around Scatterboo and his diminished athleticism. But I do still believe in the player. Um, You're just talking me into an extended timeline and a additional buy-in opportunity because right now people still price him like the guy that we saw in the first half of 2025.
You damn Skippy.
They need to be beaten down just a little bit more before I swoop in and take all of their Cam Scatterboos. Talking to you, Max, you son of a bitch, always fucking trying to get. I like him. That's why you fucking two first, bro. Like, man, out of here.
and
He's got
before
him in every league because I told him how good he is. Son
and
of a bitch.
before we go to our next player that we will discuss, we'll cut to our quick break from League Champ, where you could win a free NFL jersey. They have two current contests right now for the NFL draft. Predict the first round and then predict 7 rounds of the NFL draft. I have yet to submit my first round just because we have a little bit of time before the NFL draft. But try to get yourself one. Like our good guy Rocco is showing off right now that with that Lamar Jackson jersey, as Ben has right there. Okay, now
McCown.
I don't have mine on. I didn't get the memo, but
Bro,
my
gotta
jersey's upstairs. God damn it! But
do better.
you can win a NFL jersey by playing lead champ. But we'll be right back after this quick break. What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back to Fourth and Fantasy and our series Ice Up Volume 2 with our good guy, the Doctor, Ben McCown in the house as we talk about quarterbacks and running backs. But let's keep that train going now. Let's continue with the next quarterback on this list, Denny Dimes, who I feel like is smelling himself a little bit. Him and the Colts are going back and forth as I've heard. They aren't close on a deal. I don't know who Danny Dimes think he is, but obviously he thinks he's that guy. Ben, talk to us. How should we be feeling about Danny Dimes for in 2026?
Yeah, so he was given the transitional tag, but you're right. They didn't give him any money as far as extending him. And as far as his injury, guys, he had an Achilles tear late in the season. I want to say I actually want to look up the timeline, but what I have in my notes is he probably will not be ready until more like October or November based on the injury. I'm really curious what Indianapolis is going to do to start the season. Of course, right now you have some conversations around Anthony Richardson, a lot of rumors whether he's going to get traded. And then really who's the other quarterback in the room there? I mean, Philip Rivers is gone, so it ends up being Riley Leonard. Yeah, as far as Daniel Jones, I'm holding the bag right now, honestly, because I had drafted him late in the league, but he was essentially on one of my contenders that made the playoffs. And when he got, so December 7th against the Jaguars, week 14, that injury crushed that team. And for me, I'm losing even more faith in Daniel Jones. Like, there was a little bit of a period in time where he was the surprise QB1 that no one saw coming. And then it was having a tear with Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, the rest of the Indianapolis Colts offense. And then we lost him to the Achilles tear, and now I'm like, I can't trust you. They're going to definitely draft QB in 27. That's my strong feeling. I think a lot of people are there as well. But, yeah, I'm curious what Daniel Jones will do for the Indianapolis Colts when he possibly comes back towards the middle of the season next year. What are the Colts doing here? I really don't know.
That's a good. We need to know because if they're already talking about the way they've been speaking, Anthony Richardson is damn near out the window. So Rocco, how are you feeling about Danny Dimes' value in 2026? Is he? I mean, at this point, at last year when he was out there slinging that rock, you could say he was worth a second. Now I wouldn't even. I'm not. If I need a quarterback, I'm probably not touching Danny Dimes at this moment.
I got one fucking share.
He said, "I got one fucking share."
Got one fucking share. I've never believed in Danny Dimes. He was a free agent in a combined rookie vet draft. So I picked him up like, I don't know. I think I actually picked him up in in waiver run after the draft. It was a 3 round 14 teamer, and the reason why he was on waivers is because in this league you can only roster 3, just so nobody's an asshole with quarterbacks. You can put him on taxi, you can put him on IR, but yeah, I mean he was just fucking sitting there, and I'm weak as hell in this league with quarterbacks loaded everywhere else, obviously, but returning champion. Some humble brag. I don't really think about Danny Dimes anymore because I'm an AR guy, and it pisses me off that he swooped in, took my man's job, and the Colts hate Anthony Richardson, and they want him to leave and be destitute and be under a bridge somewhere. They really hate that guy. That's why they're always leaking shit to that dickhead kicker that has the podcast.
I'm
Fuck
exactly.
that guy too. So anyway, yeah, I don't think about Dimes. I mean, I'm sure he's a swell guy, but situation has put us at odds. And I mean, maybe he comes back. That's Ben's thing, but I'm not drafting him anywhere.
Have we seen the last of Danny Dimes as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
No, he.
No.
I mean, the Colts are invested in him. They just gave him like what, another $40 million
It's like the
to
transitional
like
tag is like
sit out.
37.8 million. So it's a significant amount of money that they'll have to pay him if they don't end up getting another team to pick him up. Which who's going to take Daniel Jones at this point? I don't think Miami or Arizona are going to make a push when they could rather get Malik Willis or Mac Jones from Green Bay and San Francisco.
Just think about the best way that you can get your fan base excited again is going from Tua to Danny Dimes. Yeah, that's a perfect way to get your fan base back rocking, right? They will piss off everybody. I'm telling you. I know. Yeah, I'm not really. I'm off on Danny Dimes. I don't, especially for a guy who wasn't really. His main part was his athleticism. He was actually underrated as a runner. When his time with the New York Giants, and he's a okay passer. If you ask me, he's getting better, but he's not somebody who I believe is a game changer. So I agree with Ben. I definitely think they're going to be in the market for a quarterback after this year. I don't think you can control your body, and I get a little bit of scared with these kind of injuries because one, it takes a little bit to get back going, to trust your body again, to feel like you can just go out there and not feel like you're about to snap it again. But and then Danny Don is not like they have a better offensive line, and let's say that offense isn't humming like it was towards or at the beginning to mid of last year. It can get quite ugly for Mr. Danny, if you ask me. So yeah, I'm not in on it. If I had to put him somewhere in the lines of it, I say he's like QB 27, 26 around that mark, and I'm being kind of nice even saying that part. I think he's around JJ. I would definitely take Fernando Mendoza over Danny Dimes any day. I'll go any more further on the line. I would take Ty Simpson over Danny Dimes, if I'm being quite honest with you. And I don't even like Mr. Ty Simpson that much, but
I'll take Anthony Richardson over Danny
I'll
Dimes
take
right there
Anthony. I take Malik
fucking
Willis
as a
over him.
dynasty. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Malik Willis is like a fucking top 15 quarterback going
I'm
into this
telling you,
season. Fucking easy.
easy work. So no, I do agree with the Danny
Fuck.
Dimes.
Justin Fields can't even complete a forward pass and had like 6 or 7 top fucking 12 performances in this past year.
You know what? Which brings me to another prospect that ended up getting a leg injury. And we're going to pivot back to the running backs real quick. But he's also been a hot name in this offseason because he's been talked up by his head coach, Enrico. doesn't look like he's coming back to Carolina. If you know where I'm going with this one, Mr. Jonathon Brooks out of Texas. Mr. I blow my knee twice, but I'm back at it. How should we be feeling about Jonathon Brooks? Listen, a backstory. I've tried to acquire him this year. Off this offseason for a third. People ain't going for that. They still believe in the talent. They think he can turn it around. They think he can produce. He does have a pathway. I think he does have a pathway to RB1 snaps. If Chuba, I don't think, I think Chuba's days as a full starting workhorse are kind of over. So I do think he can get him some good opportunity here. Should people still have faith in Jonathon Brooks? Is he still warranting that second round hype?
I'm not spending a second on him, but the time to get Jonathon Brooks was honestly last offseason. Because actually, I talked about this on a pod with Chev last year on Two Guys One Pod. Just here's the thing: you could have spent 2/4 to a third on Jonathon Brooks last year. Because I think people were done as soon as the injury happened. Like it was
Mm.
just gut punch. And even just in the off season afterwards, you could have gotten him added in as like an add-on for a lot of deals. But I think a lot of people are now seeing kind of what I was seeing last year when I had told people to buy Jonathon Brooks at the time, is that he is past that point in the injury. He is going into that second year after the ACL injury. And this is the time where he could take over this backfield. It's wide open. Rico Dowdle, is he officially not a Carolina Panther? I haven't been keeping up with the news on that one, guys. As far as Chuba Hubbard, I'm not worried about Chuba. I think Jonathon Brooks is a way better athlete. And there was a reason why he was the running back one drafted that season. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it because as soon as the same game that he came out, tore his ACL. So I am excited for Jonathon Brooks because I am holding a few shares. I also am just holding myself out with bated breath because he also is a rookie that hasn't, not a rookie now. He's 2 years removed, who hasn't played a full game in the league yet.
And question. At this point in his rehab, what should he be doing at this point? Is he running? Is he cutting full speed?
100%.
Should
He's
he
doing everything.
basically at this point have full strength at that knee and just about just getting confidence back? Where should be Jonathon Brooks be at this point since they held him out all last year?
Yeah. No, because it's been so long of a recovery, he should essentially be doing everything on that knee. I mean, one-legged squats, plyometrics jumping, 18-inch to 24-inch steps. I mean, this guy should be doing everything that we need him to do to be ready to go week one because of how much time it's been since the injury happened. It was end of 2024. Okay, so it was, well, so the initial injury was November 11th, 2023 in Texas. Toward the same ACL in December of 2024, week 14 of his rookie season. So it's by that time it will have almost been 2 years removed. And I think at that point, there's no excuses for Jonathon Brooks based on the injury. It's going to be, is he NFL? Is he back to being NFL fit and ready to go? Because also being out of the NFL for almost 2 years can do something to a player physically, right? They're in the weight room, they're in the gym working out, but they haven't had that ability to get back in the game for almost 2 years. So I'll be interested to see how Jonathon Brooks handles being in a committee with Chuba Hubbard. Again, I don't see the competition being that tough for him though, considering the talent that Jonathon Brooks is.
I'm with it.
Man, y'all need to put some respect on Chuba Hubbard's name. Chuba Hubbard won me a league in 2024, and I still believe in that guy that won me that league in 2024, 2026.
Now, let me some Chuba. I just feel like
All right, fucking
they got
Chuba.
sprinkled in
Three
with
down
that.
Chuba.
They figured out like that they got enticed with that 2 running back system,
He
and
got hurt, and then they went to the 2 running back system.
I feel you.
He
I love
got
me some
hurt.
Cooper though. I do love me some
Got
Cooper.
hurt.
How do you feel about Brooks, Rocco? Like, is he somebody you still got faith in?
I'm intrigued with him. He's definitely like a prototype athlete. Um, I wish I had a share or two. I think the only share I have is in that super team that Ben gave me for free. Thank you. I'll win a championship in your honor. In 2026. That's the kind of friend I am, and I'll tell you about it. But yeah, that's all I got for Brooks. I think he's an excellent athlete.
No, I love it,
Um,
man.
he's an excellent athlete, but I'm not paying up for the brick. I'd rather buy high if I see him start to go off than
I think
invest in a guy that's had back to back knee injuries.
we
Yeah.
see a situation where they start the year off. Chuba is the lead guy, and then by like that halfway year mark is where you start to see that split go more towards Jonathon Brooks.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
if he looks good,
here's a comparable to me that like if it had ended up the right way after an injury, like it would actually be his backfield. Condre Miller. Like Condre Miller would have been the de facto starter for me for the Saints had he not just kept getting injured. And
yeah,
that, like, if Jonathon Brooks comes back in and just is missing weeks, is just like the backfield is not his, and at that point he's lost it. But I do hope, barring any soft tissue injuries, Jonathon Brooks should be hopefully be able to take over the backfield.
hell yeah! And to all the Jonathon Brooks truthers out there still holding the bag, keep holding the bag, keep having hope, because there is a real possibility he is Carolina's RB1 by the end of 2026. But there's also another world, and I don't speak injury on any player where he goes the other way. I won't actually say the words because I won't speak into existence. But we all
Get that
seen like
bag in your hand and hold it up.
it's literally in your hand. So
Yeah,
now
like that.
let's transition back to the quarterbacks and 2 names that have been on the hot press. One particular, because he's getting released from the Arizona Cardinals, is Kyler Murray. Some people still have faith. Some people are out. Some people still feel like he's a capable starter, and some feel like he needs to take his ass back to baseball. Ben, how do you feel about Kyler Murray? I know for him being a mobile quarterback, his injury is a little bit more diminishing to his overall game. But can Kyler Murray still be a capable quarterback and get back to being top 10, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I am I am not gonna like. It's so tough for me with Kyler Murray because his landing spot is probably not going to be great. Um, probably, I mean, like I think a lot of people feel that the Jets are going to be make a very strong push for him. And to speak to Kyler Murray's injury, he ended up getting hurt week 5 and didn't end up getting placed on the IR. I want to say he was out basically; it would just get ruled out. Kyler
Yep.
Murray, went from questionable to out every week until about week 10, and then they put him on the IR. So he was expected to come back week 14. Of course, Jacoby Brissett took over and just wasn't winning games, but could actually run the offense a lot more smooth than Kyler Murray was.
Mm.
And what Kyler Murray suffered was a Lisfranc sprain of his foot, which is, just to break that down a little bit deeper, it's basically a mid-foot sprain. So if you think about the bones in the middle of your foot, essentially the ligaments got stretched and he sprained that part of his foot. And so that injury is just a very annoying, nagging one because anytime you're putting weight through the foot, it's just going to aggravate the injury more if it's too early and too much.
Mm.
For me, for 2026 with Kyler Murray, I am a little bit concerned about what his fantasy ceiling is going to be and essentially what his fantasy floor is going to be. We know that he provides good rushing when he is healthy,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he's fully going to be there in 2026 personally. And I just don't feel confident that he's going to a good enough situation where I will trust him as a passer.
How about you, Rock? How do you feel about Kyler Murray in 2026?
Man, I just traded Purdy for Kyler Murray, so hopefully he lands somewhere in his.
Kyler Murray plus.
Yeah. Plus, I think it was
What did you get
maybe
in return?
Kyron Williams. Maybe I want to say Kyron Williams. I think it was Kyron Williams. Actually, I know it was Kyron Williams and Kyler Murray for Purdy. Um,
Okay.
it's
That
a
could work out though.
team. It's a team where I was undefeated last year, and if I win it this year, the league resets and I have no picks. So I would like that to happen.
Oh,
We'll
I
see.
know.
We'll see it. We'll see if that happens because I didn't lose it all last year. I mean, I'll take one loss in this next year, but I
I
want
hope
to end it
Kyler Murray
because
shit.
I want to restart. I want to restart it. By beating all of the FFU. I'm going to give the FFU a big FU by going undefeated 2 straight years and resetting this league. And all of the picks that I traded away, I get all of them back.
So, fellas,
Damn
answer
it.
this for me. What are we spending on Kyler Murray to attain him, or are you not trying to acquire Kyler Murray? I feel like as a dark QB3, he doesn't. It wouldn't hurt to have him on your squad. Would you go a mid second? Is he still worth an early second in super flex leagues?
Is that for me or Rocco?
Either, actually.
Oh, I was going to say early second. I still think he's worth that because if he hits, that's easily paid off. And what are you
Mm,
bet? What are you taking in the second round of the 2026 draft?
agreed.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys in the second round, we like some profiles, but there's no guarantee that any of them will be more than a wide receiver three, on their team, much less a wide receiver three for fantasy football. So he's worth the effort. I mean, if he hits, he's gonna hit big. I mean, or he could play baseball and you got shit, but it's it's a worthy it's a worthy bet. It really depends on who's there in the early second. To be honest with you, if it's like a Star Wars, I think I want to take a shot at a guy like that. One of these super athletic tight ends. If it's just like another one of those run of the mill wide receivers that all look like 6'4", we know 6'4" receivers don't do shit
Or
anymore.
shorter, Zachariah Branch.
You know,
Hey now, hey now, hey now.
hey, nobody wants to get him.
Don't get me started. Don't
Kyler
get me.
Murray easily over Zach Branch. You
What we
know,
do? What we do? Kyler Murray over Michael Penix.
No.
the threat of baseball, it feels like it feels like it is a possibility. At least we know Penix, wants to play football.
Kyler Murray or Tua.
Kyler Murray.
Murray easy.
Oh my God, it's like fuck Tua. Y'all didn't even have to think about it.
Tua sucks, and everybody on his team hates him. He's got that late career Russell Wilson trajectory.
Oh
All
God,
right, how
yeah.
about Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy?
Jaden McCarthy.
Easy,
You just
easy.
baited me into that one.
Kyler Murray or Malik Willis?
Malik
I'm going
Willis.
Willis.
I ain't mad at it. I like the answers, man. And there's been talks about, and as I keep hearing noise in these streets, Atlanta being interested in Kyler Murray, and I think he would look dope in a Falcons uniform. But you can't have two injured quarterbacks at one who just blew his knee again, and then the other one healing the other part of his foot. But I mean, hell, I like chaos. So let's see if they actually if the Falcons do try to bring in Kyler Murray. I think he ends up a Jet just because if he is the most cost efficient, I would say, and has the most to prove. Where you could see a Baker Mayfield type of redemption from him, or like a Sam Darnold type of redemption era from Kyler Murray. So I think, I still think there's still hope, right? I'm not all the way out, but I definitely ain't like, yo, go out there and acquire you some Kyler Murray. And he's going to turn your fantasy football team around and you're going to be just A-okay. It's not, yeah, he could very much be a shortstop. No pun intended. So, uh,
Pun intended.
no pun intended.
Pun is intended.
Let's continue this quarterback train on Lamar Jackson himself. And he had a very injury plagued 2025. And I think that was more on the coaching staff themselves, of where they were putting him in situations where you're not saving your quarterback. I think they were relying on his legs a little bit too much, and you weren't playing to your strengths. You have one of the better downhill running backs, and they barely utilized under center formations. They were in shotgun quite a bit. Why? Right? And when you have Derrick Henry, I think that does a disservice to Lamar Jackson. They've talked about now implementing more under the center formations, play action, assisting that not they never mentioned, oh, we need to have Lamar Jackson running more. No, I think Lamar Jackson has developed into one of the better passers in this league. And the injuries were annoying, especially for someone who was religiously going in the first four picks of startup drafts. Now, he still goes in that first. I think that I've seen some situations where he makes it to the end of the first. He might be available in that early second if you're crazy. If you're crazy, right? But with Lamar Jackson, is he still the QB1 that we all fell in love with? Is he still the MVP that we saw go crazy and do put up crazy fantasy numbers? How we feel about Lamar Jackson Ben in 2026?
If he's fully healthy, I mean, we know he physically is a QB1, right? I think he'll be fine. I think he'll rebound. I think this is a great regression for him to fall into that late first. I mean, to fall into the early second, you have to take Lamar. But
For sure.
I think during the season, I was absolutely worried. I think long-term wise, in terms of years of being able to bet on Lamar, I'm worried. Just like I'm also worried kind of where with Josh Allen, he's priced at his age and essentially what kind of style runner he is as well. They're going to give you some more, top years of production over the next 2 to 3 years, which is what we really should be playing Dynasty in terms of anyway, right? But
Agreed.
I do think that Lamar Jackson is going to drop off in production after the next couple of years, right? I think this is the time to strike if you are a contender and buy into Lamar now, while he is essentially what I mean. If we're looking at it the way that Rocco usually does, 3 firsts rather than 4 firsts, essentially. Right?
That sounds just like Rocco.
Say that again? I missed that.
I was just saying that typically your way of valuing these guys is, and you get. I feel like it's funny because Rocco's like, nobody's ever worth 4 firsts. Rocco's like, hey, if you want him off my team, you got to pay 4 firsts. But right now,
All right, you do.
I feel like Lamar Jackson, you could probably give up a play that's worth a first plus 2 firsts to get Lamar. And if you're, I think that's fine. I think he's going to still provide QB1 numbers this year.
I was like, oh no. I was like, what happened to our boy Ben? But I do agree. I'm with you on that one. Where by the dip, some people are actually low on Lamar Jackson right now. Where I would comfortably still have him in that top 3, top 4 of quarterbacks you still take in startup drafts, and feel comfortable that because when Lamar Jackson is on a week, when he's killing it for a week, he's one of those quarterbacks that can will your team to the playoffs. Now, can he stay
Let me ask you
healthy?
this of you guys:
Hmm?
who would you rather take, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson?
Lamar, I think, but if it's I know people will throw in the age tax for dynasty because you're going to get more valuable years. And we saw. I don't like to go back to use rookie numbers, but we did see Jaden Daniels be one of the more accurate quarterbacks for a rookie that we've ever seen come into the league. But I like,
It's
if we
it's definitely Lamar because Commanders.
why do I think why do I think that Rocket was gonna give me a little bit of flack and he'd be like, no, what, I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels, but
Hey, I was all aboard Jaden Daniels, and then in early drafts, before the free agency and before the draft, and then I saw the Commanders completely fuck that man over and bring in fucking dusty ass fucking Debo Samuel,
Debo.
continue to not develop Benson, not and bring old fucking dusty ass Zach Ertz, dick around all season with Terry McLaurin, kind of like the 49ers did with Ayuk, and you saw what happened there. And he was doing the Mahomes thing. He was running for his life, and that's why his arm literally snapped backwards because he was doing everything he could to carry that team. And the Commanders didn't do right by him. So hopefully they get their act together this off season. But spending all of your draft capital on old ass defensive players, trading a bunch of picks for old ass Marcus Lattimore, it's not smart, and it's just shit you would see from the Commanders. To surround your young stud QB with just a bunch of old farts and no dynamism, no juice, no speed, no guys that get you excited. So yeah, the only young player they brought in was Krosky Merritt, and what was he, a fifth round running back? Like,
Seventh
be
round.
for real. Like, you're not helping him, and that's where my concern lies.
Mhm.
That if he had the players and Lamar Jackson, he doesn't have the best talent around him, but he does have Derrick Henry. He has Zay Flowers. Whether you think Mark Andrews is washed, but he's got some decent players, and Jaden Daniels has none of that. He has a moribund franchise. Who knows who the OC is? The coach should have got fired. He got meat shielded by that playoff season.
Yeah, that was a bonehead.
He would be gone too. Cliff Kingsbury out the door. One good season, and then it falls off a cliff. But the only people you can really blame for this are ownership and the GM because they didn't bring in talent. You have the opportunity when you have a young quarterback like that on a rookie deal to bring talent and put it around him, and they failed him every step of the way with that.
So
Yeah.
with Jaden Daniels, that's where I keep coming back with because I was still when it happened, I was trying to understand the injury a little bit more, but it was a dislocated elbow. Am I correct, Ben?
Yeah. So he actually, yeah, he didn't end up fracturing any bone, um, and he also didn't tear any ligaments. That was the thing that baffled me and how he was able to return so quickly. Um, because yeah, what was Jaden Daniels' injury? I believe it was a dislocated elbow. Yes, dislocated left elbow in Week 14 against Minnesota. Uh, uh, he re-aggravated in Week 14 because they see that's the stuff right there, and it was being done with RG3 too, where it's like, do these organizations just have similar mindsets through the years? Because you see it with the 49ers and the way that they're treating their training and
Hmm.
some of the stuff that's going on in with their players. But basically, Jaden Daniels goes out with dislocated elbow in Week 9, and there's an opportunity. They come out before his Week 14 starts and say that he is able to play. Um, in these last final games.
Yeah.
Guys, you're not competing. Why
Yeah.
are you throwing your star quarterback out to possibly get injured further? And he does it. And he aggravates his left elbow and then is basically shut down for the rest of the season. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they at least shut him down, but it could have been way worse than what it was. And we're talking about them ruining two young cornerbacks between RG3 and possibly Jaden Daniels.
Would we rather have Jaden Daniels or Jackson Dart?
Jaden Daniels.
Jade Daniels,
Jaden Daniels or Justin Herbert?
Jaden Daniels.
Justin Herbert.
But I think that one's really goddamn close.
Jaden
Justin
Daniels or
Herbert, he's
Trevor
finally got
Lawrence?
an OC, and he's got way more talent surrounding him.
T
That's
Law
going to
or
be the
Jaden
difference.
Daniels?
Give me Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Okay. Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels?
There's the question.
Burrow.
Burrow.
Mm.
Burrow. Because to me, and this was my question I was going to ask you guys with Lamar. Would you take Lamar or Burrow?
That's because I love me some damn Joe Burrow. I do, and I love that offense. I might.
Burrow is on the even year track, because Dak is going to suck this year because it's even year Dak. It's even year Burrow too, so Burrow might be the fucking MVP this year. So buy into Burrow right now when people still thinking about that toe, and him went in retirement over playing with the fucking Bengals.
I can't. Do we? And for with the Jaden Daniels talk, do we see him return back to that top five? Well, one, we got to see how they do with that overall offense. Do they go out and get another wide receiver? Do they go out and get a Carnell Tate? Do they go out and get a Jeremiah Love to get better with that offense? What do they do with the tight end spot? Do they give it to Sanat? Uh, I hear Ertz is trying to get back for week one. I
Fuck
know he's still a
Ertz.
free agent, but they're
You know who
looking to see
the
what they
tight
can
end was
do.
that last sat under Zach Ertz? Was the tight end one last year?
I mean,
Yeah, but he played in his second year, so not still
Yeah, no,
waiting to get on the field.
that's the huge part. But man,
So
He's getting zero touches. So yeah, I'm holding because I believed in the prospect, but it is getting tense. I'll probably wind up picking him up because he'll start to get dropped as people bringing in rookies. So he's an interesting hold and stash, but it's getting hard to believe in that guy.
So I will, and last finishing question, and this has been a great episode. Thanks, Ben, for coming on tonight and talking quarterbacks and running backs with us. Between the quarterbacks, and we could break this up into two. The quarterbacks that have gotten hurt, who do you think will have the best bounce back season?
So I think Rocco said it. We didn't spend a lot of time on it, and actually I don't think we really even featured him. Joe Burrow. I do think Joe Burrow comes back, and I'm just going to make my dark horse shot right now. I think he wins the MVP in 2026.
I'm not mad at that. How about you, Rock? Who who do you have as the bounce back, the biggest bounce back quarterback in 2026?
I think it's going to be Lamar. I think he's going to be back to being an MVP candidate. I think I think every couple of years the offense gets stale. The coaching definitely got stale. Harbaugh is a very conservative coach. And I think he needed a little bit more of a forward-thinking coach. I think he's an excellent passer, but for whatever reason, his passing attempts have always been limited. But I think as he gets older, I'm not ready to say he's going to stop just, being a fantasy maven. I think he's going to cut down on the rushes because he doesn't need to be rushing that much. But even if he cuts back a little bit, I think he can still, even if he slows up a little bit. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was a 4.3 guy coming in. So even if he slows down a little bit, he's still outrunning guys like Mahomes and Josh Allen. So I think that he is going to be locked in for a big time comeback season. I think that they're going to kind of lean into being able to throw the ball a little more.
Yo.
And I think that King Henry is going to be a big part. They're not going to be sitting King Henry because of a first quarter fumble. In the fourth quarter of a winnable game. In 2024. And that's basically, to me, that was the fireable offense because that's what kept them out of the playoffs, not the missed field goal. It was the fact that you sat down the tank King Henry, when you had a chance to beat the Patriots, and you let them come back. So I think I love the call for Burrow, but I think Lamar is right there with them, and I think they're going to be competing for a title in 2026.
And
Well,
fellas,
I don't know about a title for the Bengals because Bengals, but
and then running back comeback king in 2026. Who do we have? Ben, I'll let you go first.
All right, I think Rocco's going to love me for this one. But if Jeremiah Love does not get drafted to the Saints at pick 8, I think it's going to be Alvin Kamara. I think
Alvin
he's going to have a comeback season.
Kamara. And there has been teams that have been calling the New Orleans Saints to get check the temperature on Alvin Kamara to see if he's available. Could we see him moved into this offseason 2026? I would be happy, but it just depends on who the team is. I still think he has a lot of juice and his still left in his tank to be a very serviceable back in this league. But I like the pick. I like that pick right there, Ben. How about you, Rock? Who is your bounce back running
man,
back?
I don't like none of these fucking running backs. Ain't none of them are gonna return
Rock, I,
and be league winners.
I didn't know we were shooting our player hater volume 3.
I want to say Scatty, but it's gonna be Scatty for me. But there's a lot of smoke coming out of New York right now, and it fucking terrifying me. And Ben's the fucking Doc's in the house, so
Knocks in the house.
as much as I want to say he's full of shit, I don't know anything about the medical field. That would be like Ben telling me about fucking taxes and shit.
There's a world
I,
where Scatabo is a RB1 though. If if all things fall right and he doesn't have a re-aggravation of his injury, he could be a top 12 running back.
I was gonna say that while we were talking about him, if they don't end up bringing in a running back, then you're rolling the ball again with Tracy and Scatterbo, and you can still reap the benefits of your shares on Scatterbo. But that has been volume 2 of Ice Up with our good friend, the Doctor, Ben McCown in the house, bringing the medical expertise as always. And we appreciate you in these fourth and fantasy streets. And you can find Ben on the Dynasty Gambit and Devy Dojo, bringing his intelligence to the Dynasty community, fantasy football community. You are a treasure to us all. Ben, what are you working on? What do you have for the folks before we get up out of here? And once
Yeah,
again, appreciate you, big dog.
thank you guys, thank you. And myself, Dustin, and Chris from the Dojo have been hard away at work working on our rookie guide for FSAN, or Fantasy Sports Advice Network. And so our release is actually going to be March 9th. For our first edition of our rookie guide. We are going back in the lab between the draft and then to release our second guide later on after the draft. But we're extremely excited. We put a lot of work into this, did a lot of film review, and we're going to be bringing that to you guys. The other stuff I'm working on, after the rookie guide is fully finished, and I'm still kind of trying to release articles here and there. Releasing some work with the Dojo as well on our Substack. So definitely, please feel free to reach out to me if you want some more information on that. And then with the Gambit, right? So I'm no longer full time with Austin, but I did return for an episode that will be releasing this weekend, and I am continuing to be a strong part of the show as I put a lot of heart and soul into that brand. But if you guys want to follow me, definitely look me up on X. I'm at Dynasty Big Mac FF. it's always fun with Rocco and Huncho. They're the two of the best in the space.
Appreciate it, big dog. And Rock, do you have anything before we get up out of here, my G?
No, man, this has been fantastic. Um, we'll have a podcast coming out soon with it's gonna be everybody, all of my best friends, all seven of us actually. But that might drop. We're still working out the details of that. But that's gonna be fun as hell. We're recording that one tomorrow, so we will be back on a short turnaround. Let's get it.
Let's get it. And as always, we are your fantasy playbook to more championship wins. And Rocco, what are we the land of? Why?
We are a fantasy football podcast for Dynasty Sickos by Dynasty Sickos. Everybody is welcome, goddamn it.
Everybody's goddamn welcome. And once again, we are joined by the great Ben McCown in the house. The doctor, appreciate you as always. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day, night, in your bed, on the toilet, however you're viewing us. Till next time, this has been Fourth in Fantasy. And
While
this is
taking a
League Champ.
shit.
And this is League Champ, where you can win a free NFL jersey. They are doing a contest for the NFL drafts. Predict the first round, and you could potentially win a free NFL jersey. But till next time,
This is
hope you
the
have a good
best
day.
fantasy football podcast to listen to while taking a dump. Hit the music.
Ski.